Hey YouTube and my subscribers, JC18904 here with a new video for you guys today. Be showing you guys how to replace your stock bulkhead steering on your two-wheel drive Traxxas Slash with a stock replacement. What you're going to need is your wheel lug wrench, your 2.0 Allen wrench, the little short one. Then you need your 2.5. Now, what you want to go ahead and do first is take your 2.0 Allen wrench and take loose this 2.0 screw and this nut down here. What you want to simply do, if you have aluminum hub carriers, all you have to do is turn the nut, but if you have plastic ones, you'll probably have to use the Allen wrench. Now, after you get both of them nuts broke loose on each side, you want to just simply set the nut aside. It looks like this. Still tiny nut. You got two of them. So you want to make sure you do not lose those. Now, next step will be to take loose your two 2.0 Allen wrench screws on your skid plate and the two 2.5s on top. Now I'll show you guys those screws here. Got enough to get off. Now your 2.0 Allen wrench screws are back here and your 2.5s are up here, and just go ahead and undo those. Then after you do those, you can simply pop off your skid plate. It should come loose. Then you have another 2.0 Allen wrench screw. Now the 2.5s look like this on top. You got two of them to take loose. Now I'll show you guys the 2.0s. I'm going to use a bigger Allen wrench on these because my little one don't work that well. But you want to make sure, just take these loose a little bit. Now what I've done is, I was out running my truck the last time for you guys. I noticed it was steering funny after running it in the snow. So I realized that the steering linkages were cracked on my truck. I'll show you a 2.0 Allen wrench screw for your skid plate. Now you want to simply set them aside, same spot. Now you got your turnbuckle that comes off your servo saver. That's a 2.0 also. You want to simply take it loose. But it's right here. I already got some of my screws loose because these are really long screws. Now if you have dirt in it, use a smaller Allen wrench or maybe like a nail. Spin the nail on the head of the screw. I'll show you this screw. Looks like this on top. Kind of long looking screw. So remember that one went for this turnbuckle right here. Now, after you have your skid plate loose, you should be able to lift off I got a little spot here. Now, should pull right off. Now, as you can see, I left the turnbuckles on so I know where they went. What you want to do next is take these loose. Now, what I'm going to do to take these loose is just simply hold the turnbuckle, then take my wrench is to simply turn this. Now make sure that you do not move your turnbuckle adjustments. I'll show you how to make sure you inspect your skid plate for cracks if it is cracked. And when your turnbuckle comes off, both your big flat spots should be on the top and both small ones should be on the bottom. As you can see, it's got one fat top and one skinny bottom. So you want to put the fat tops facing up. Try to anyway. Now, as you can see, here's the damage to my bulkhead right here. As you can see, I can go like this, I can move it, which I don't know how it broke. Go ahead and take your other turnbuckle loose. And you also might want a Phillips head screwdriver. I'll show you guys here why. I got one handy. Both nuts are the same size that came off the turnbuckle. Both of them are the same. So just make sure both of them are the same length and adjusted the same, because this can make your truck steer off if they're not adjusted right. Now next, you have two 2.5 Allen wrench screws here and here. Take both of these loose. Now my skid plate's in good shape. As I can see here, doesn't look like it's hurt any. Now here's these screws. You can see they're kind of long. So you want to set them aside. And you want to clean the surface off here, because all the dirt and stuff can get around this. I recommend just putting some 3-in-1 oil on it, which I've already done through the bottom of the skid plate on the holes. I'll show you guys them. There's the other screw. It should pull right off. And you have two little bushings here on the bottom. You want to leave them on there if you do not have to replace your skid plate. Now you want to take these two 2.0 Allen wrench screws loose. And after you do that, you want to make sure on your new one that you put them in the same spot. Just simply undo them both. After you do that, you set the other one aside and use it for parts if nothing else is damaged on it. You want to make sure both of these are the same size. The one I got, the new one, came off as the original 2-wheel drive Slash. Had the gray chassis. So I want to make sure all the linkages are the same length, because this could have an effect on your truck on steering too. Make sure your screws are in good shape. There's what they look like. Now what I want to do is just simply to compare them. Is just hold them up the same way. And it appears the old one is the same length as the Raptors. So I can't believe that this broke. You can see after I took it off, the gap right here closed up. Right here. So I don't know what the heck happened there. Made my truck steer different. Now to install the new one, You want to just simply take and put it on like this. Make sure you get this on straight. And it steers fine, no rubbing, which appears to be fine. Now, I'm going to do the screws different on this. I'm going to put these two 2.0 screws and these two 2.5 long ones. Remember, the 2.5s go here on top, like this. Then the 2.0s on the bottom here, like this. Now you should be able to just finger tighten these for now. You want to do both sides. After you get both of these in, go ahead and tighten up everything. Now your Phillips head screws are right here on this. Make sure both of these are tight, because it's hard to get to them when it's all put together. Now this screw's going on kind of tight, so I'm going to have to use the Allen wrench for this one, which won't be no trouble. Now next off is your turnbuckles. We'll go ahead and put them back on. And make sure everything is lined up the way you had it. I left my turnbuckles alone. Didn't mess with them, except for taking them 2.0 screws off. And you want to tighten these up. Make sure both of them are tight. Now, after you get your 2.5 Allen wrench screws here on top tight, I'm going to make sure that everything turns fine before you put it back on the truck. Make sure you get these snugged up really good, you guys. You don't want these too tight, just enough where this will move on its own. So what I'm going to do is just simply go like this. And it should turn on its own. Because you do not want these super tight. Just enough room because these screws here will stay tight. But you can retighten these on the truck from inside the chassis. So we'll make sure that it turns fine. It's not too tight. They don't have to be super tight, you guys. Should be turned real freely. Should not move up and down. That seems alright. Now the turnbuckles. Just simply remember that this end here went on here like this. Then you want to put your nuts on here. Make sure you got the skinny part on top. and the flat part of the nut towards the top of the turnbuckle. You want the fat part facing up, like this. Now after you get both of them on, go ahead and tighten up them nuts. After you tighten these up, you want to take your 2.0 Allen wrench and put on the ball nut screw and just simply turn it, because you do not want these to come loose. Now when you put this back on the truck, make sure that there's no dirt or cracks on the insert where these screws go. I'll show you them too. Now take your Allen wrench again, simply put it on the ball nut screw, turn it till it stops. Then for the Phillips head screws, make sure these are tight. Just a little loose. Now make sure everything steers fine, no drag on it. What you should do, simply go like this. Make sure it ain't going to hurt the servo. Make sure these do not move up and down. Now, on the bottom of the truck here, as you can see, it's got two big holes here. So, you want to line these two 2.5 Allen wrench screws up with them two holes. Make sure you put it on even. And it should click when it goes down on there. And after you get them on, take your 2.5 Allen wrench screws and install these on to the skid plate. Show you guys where they go. Right here. Then put the other one on. Finger tighten it. How you should do it. Get done real quick. Remember, 2.5 is the big Allen wrench that came in your kit. Then the 2.0 is the next one down from that. Then your 1.5 is the smallest Allen wrench that came in the kit for your truck. So after you get this tight, go ahead and put in your 2.0 Allen wrench screws for your skid plate. Then after you put them in, you want to make sure that they go in straight. Do not want to strip it out. Just simply tighten that down. Tight. That's dirt flying out of the head of the screw. Now for your servo saver, remember the screw that came out of here that was kind of long? Looks like this. You want to put that back on. Make sure that you do not adjust this. Everything should be lining back up just fine. You go ahead and put these back onto your turnbuckles, onto your hub carrier. Just simply put your nuts, these ones here, back on. They should be the same size as the ones that came off on the turnbuckles, so it shouldn't really matter about these. So remember that if you have aluminum hub carriers, the only thing you have to do is tighten them, is use your wrench for your wheels. And make sure that it feels like there's no drag there. And just simply tighten these down. I ain't going to tighten these all the way down because I gotta take my hub carriers off and clean them. So I'm just going to snug them up. Remember the smaller side of your wheel lug wrench, because you got your big side and you got the little tiny end. Then for your servo saver, remember the long screw that come out of there. And that's a 2.0 Allen wrench screw. It did not have a nut on this, so you don't have to worry about that. You want to install it on this part here, the stem that sticks off to the side of your truck. Just simply flip it over like this. This can be a pain in the butt because everything likes to move after you take it loose. And after you get it started, the best way to tighten this up is I'll show you guys here after I get my screw started. Remember, if you got screwdrivers, this is the perfect thing to use, which I got Allen wrenches, which don't really matter. Now this screw is real long, so it's going to take a little while. Make sure that there is no slack in your steering, which that helped on my truck a lot. I think the other one's also wore out, and it was starting to break anyway. Now I got WD-40 on my screws. That's why it's making that noise. Plus it's going into new plastic. Now to tighten this, I'm just going to simply put my finger right here on that stem on the back side of it and just tighten it. Then after you get that tight, just do not over torque it, just make sure it's snugged up. Check the slack in your wheels. Now, as you can see, it helped on my truck a lot. That's why my truck was all over the place there for a little while in my last videos. And it's just really awesome now. It's all tightened up with this new setup. The plastic looks a little bit thicker on the older one. And there's hardly no slack in that at all, which I'm very happy. Now, for your servo saver here, make sure that the gap in this is tight. Make sure there's no play in anything. Your skid plate, make sure it's tight. 2.5 Allen wrench. I usually go until it stops turning. Then make sure everything's tight. That's how you replace your bulkhead steering on your two-wheel drive Slash. And just simply, if you want, use this as old parts or something, which I probably do, because this piece here is trash for this end here, but everything else is in good shape. So comment, like, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.